Welcome back to the Solo Line Network private podcast. I'm your host, Criss Madrigal, and today I am joined by Sharonah Luderitz, a woman whose story and work just deeply resonates with the journey of midlife transformation. And Sharonah helps women navigate the storms of perimenopause and discover themselves through human design and gene keys. And she has her own tools that have helped her turn her own experience into a path of awakening and rebirth. And there is so much more to that too, because Sharonah is one of our guest experts in business area inside the Solo Line Network community. So I am just excited to have you here today, Sharonah, and also to really hear all about your journey and your expertise and your guidance in business and how you bring everything all together with gene keys and human design. And there's so much that I want to dive into, but I want to just give you this official welcome onto our podcast, Sharonah.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I've been enjoying the group a lot, reading it's been really nice. Yeah, I think like a lot of us, the journey goes through pain.
Mm,
So
yeah.
there's the breakdown before the breakthrough, as they say, right? So that's so true, I think. So my I've been a freelancer since I'm 25 or so, so it kind of was the biggest box to choose. So I chose that because everything else felt too restricted.
Hmm.
Um, and I fell more or less by accident into project management, design coordination for really big temporary architecture projects, like millions big. Very deadline driven, very stressful, obviously, very leading to burnout, like inevitable burnout every time. And when I hit perimenopause, obviously in hindsight, because I had no idea what was going on,
Hmm.
because it's like it started with depression, not with the things that we know about, the hot flashes and everything we can sort of, but it started with joyless and depression and just boredom. I don't know, weird place to be in. And I was like, I can't continue on this path. It's like it's gonna break me. It's too much, too much to hold together. So that was when I discovered human design and then learned that I am supposed to be multi-passionate, which was very fitting because the job that I did, you had to know a lot of things, but nothing in depth kind of thing. You had to be
Yeah.
very practical, really fast with solutions and everything. So that was quite well fitted. But also, it kind of suggested that I should be teaching.
Mm.
And I never thought about it. And I was like, suddenly I was like, actually, that's that's not a bad idea. I kind of like that. And I think there's like a collective calling in midlife women that we need to share our wisdom to the outside kind of thing, is what I observe. That it's like it's not enough anymore to do your thing well and no one sees it. It's more of, you
Mhm.
know what I mean? I want to make an impact and I want to change the way I have been brought up and I want to change the future for my kids. And it's all of this push to the outside, which led me to go down the road of business coaching, certifications, human design, and all of that, and bringing it all together with the situation I'm in, which is perimenopause, menopause, that whole thing. And then here I am.
Ooh, okay. I was writing a couple things down that I want to go back and touch on. So I would love to hear from you, just in general, if you're comfortable. At what age did you feel that you began those perimenopause symptoms? And I ask for a specific reason. It's more of a personal reason. Um, so what, if you don't mind sharing, what
No,
age?
no, no. I the thing was my mum passed away when I was 43. And I think it's the same time as the symptoms started, but I put it to because I said it was that joylessness and that I put it to grief. I put it in the grief drawer kind of thing and was like, well, it's obvious that that's gonna feel like this. So I didn't put it to perimenopause at all, but in hindsight, I would say 43.
Okay. And I asked that because I'm 46 now, but I look back to 39, 40 when I was feeling the symptoms that are now described as perimenopause. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
even consider that at that time. I was more in that place of living in survival mode for so long, and motherhood just really took me to that point with, a lot of things that were happening with, medical stuff with my children and all this. So I attributed to all that. So when I started to show symptoms and I ultimately ended up with, a nutritionist or a holistic approach to how I was feeling, that was kind of the answer. It's you've been living in survival mode for a decade. So I then took the next steps to help myself. And now I look back and what you just said, even makes me think of that further, where yes, I was going through all of this, but could it have also been some of those? I guess I'm never going to know, and that's okay.
It's
But
probably a yes. But
well, I think so too. Probably a combination of everything, right? Now, I have no idea if a person living a certain lifestyle will have an earlier onset of menopause. I've never asked that question. I have no idea.
I, I don't, yeah, I don't think actually there's so little research up till now, isn't there? So I'm sure we will know it at some point what the
Yeah.
reasons are for earlier or later menopause, but I think so far no one knows really.
Well, and that's the mystery, right? We're
Yeah,
navigating all these changes. And we don't even know how sometimes because it's
exactly.
it's different for everyone and it's accumulation of so many things. But I love when you shared that there comes human design, you discover human design and you realized through it that you should perhaps be teaching. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that from your standpoint. And now that you had also, you also support women in business, I would love to hear, how did you identify that? I mean, I know how you identify it, but for those that are not familiar, what was it within your design that was like, oh, teaching might be a thing? And for people that start to look into human design, how do you encourage them to leverage their gifts when they've never considered them? I guess that is the question.
Yeah. Well, I would not recommend to do a reading, which is what most people do. But I think it's too much information in yeah, I didn't really like my readings, although I did discover it through a reading, and it was I'm a 3/5 profile. My profile is 3/5, and the 5 is supposed to be teaching.
Me too.
There you go. So 3 is we put our hand in the fire, although everyone says it's hot, and then and then we share the experience of what we learned from experimenting with it. And that goes into that teaching role. Yeah, I personally am not a fan of readings because I think I didn't like doing them because you overwhelm people,
Mhm.
and I think it's much better to get it written and go step by step, and then to work with someone who can ask you the right questions to find because we're in the jar, so we can't read the label, right? So you don't see the connections. So yourself, right? So that's always good
Mhm.
when you have someone who like you tell them a challenge in your life, and then we can go into the gene keys and the human design and have a look where that might show up and what the solution might be is much, yeah, it's more of an embodying rather than an information approach, right? Because there's too much information. You can also go in ChatGPT and ask there about your
Mhm.
design.
Mhm.
But yeah, but the actual making the connection of how it shows up in your life, I think there is good to have someone to help.
Yeah. Now, you said also sharing your wisdom. And I have also found that now that you're saying like you're a 3-5, and I'm like, well, I'm a 3-5 too. So the teaching and the sharing, probably just feels a little bit more natural, even though at one point it didn't. But do you also find that with just women in general? Like, okay, I've gone through, I'm in midlife, 40s, 50s, above. Now I really want to share what I've learned in this world. I'm not meant to just keep it all to myself. Or do you not see that as much? Because you made that comment that people want to share and
Yeah,
leave that.
no, I do. I like the there's only a couple of species that go through menopause, and one of them is the whales. And the whale actually brings um the old female whale who's postmenopause is actually guiding the pack through the oceans with her experience. And I love that picture because it's like, I can guide you from the experience. Like, we're not going there because there is danger there. We're going this way around, kind of thing. And I think that happens, and I think it gets suppressed through patriarchy and our conditioning and everything like that. Is like this image of the woman at 50 being at the top of the hill, and it only goes downhill from there. And there's all these negative things with aging, right?
Hmm.
Associated with aging. But I think it's actually that we are supposed to take our experience that we had from the last 45, 50 years and share with society where we went wrong and what we could do differently. Is that my one?
How do you
Sorry.
feel women are today in terms of sharing it? I feel like it's kind of 50-50. Like some are ready to talk about it and others not as much. What has your experience been? Is it more of like, yeah, I'm ready to talk and share it?
I think the people who are like the women who are actually in the middle of it, like in the storms and not actually quite sure what's happening, because it's a deconstruction of your identity, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then there's all these parts, and it takes a little bit of time to see how it can go back together. Um, I think if you're in the middle, like in the messy middle, there is a lot of shame.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I asked women to come, onto Q&As and stuff like that, and they don't want to talk about it, definitely. And then there's the women who are already seeing what it actually did for them, because, there's the phase where you think this is unfair and you go into victim, and why is it only women? Always we have to deal with all this crap and all that. So there's the victim stage. Um, Obviously they don't really want to talk about it, or they moan with other people, bitch with other people about the symptoms. But the people or the women that went through it and see it as a chance to reinvent yourself, and you know what I mean, and really be of service, and they do talk about it. So I guess it's that 50-50 also where you're at.
Yeah. And I think you hit it there. If you're in that messy middle, you probably are not even sure what you're just going through it. Now, there's some that do want to talk about what they're going through, but yeah, I could see how that group may not be ready just because they're not even sure what they're going through. Now,
Exactly. Can't even articulate it really, what the problem
exactly.
is. Yeah.
You just feel different. There's just something going on. Things are not the same. You don't feel like doing the same things. You're excited, but other things excite you, but not anymore. And you're trying to figure it all out. So, how are you going to talk about something that you're not really sure? But here's what I think is important. Those that are ready to talk, when you share, when you describe what you are going through, that then allows other women to see themselves in it. It really does. At least that's my
Yes.
perspective. Because to me, sharing honest, real stories is what allows other people to feel seen, to feel recognized, to feel heard because they're seeing themselves in your stories.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Also, it goes, aha, it could be that. Like if you don't even know, and then you hear a story and someone describes exactly how you feel, you're like, I never even considered it could be perimenopause, but
yeah. Oh, I love this. But what was it that first fascinated you about human design?
definitely, I think so I'm a manifesting generator, and it's, we're if you want to look at the negative side, we're the quitters and we never finish anything. And human design words it differently though, does it? They're like, we're the fire starters. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we start the fires and then we move on to the next because there's more important things to do to start somewhere else. So this being multi-passionate, um, I think that was the biggest thing in the beginning, just like a permission slip, because I had been working, like as I said, I built my career around this actual strength, but I never felt it was a strength. I
Mm,
always felt there was something wrong with me, and I would edit, depending on who I talk to, I would tell them either this part of my business or this part, you know what I mean? I would like
mm,
choose what to talk about, but I would never talk about the whole thing because it was too much for people.
yeah. And what a permission slip, I'm gonna say, to know
Yeah.
that, hey, that's actually a gift, whether people see it like that or not, it is.
Yeah, and it reframes it beautifully. Like, really, yeah. The reframe is amazing, I think, with human design, because there's always two sides of the coin, right? And we're just like so conditioned to look at the bad side, but
Yeah.
there's always the other side, and human design can bring that to light.
Yeah. I mean, when I discovered my design, and I'm a projector, I'm a 3/5 emotional projector. And I'd been someone who spent 20 years in corporate. And so hustle, 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 it's just like, and in my lifestyle as well with my kids. And I mean, it was a lot. So now I go back and I really ask myself, like, how did I do it? Because now I honor the rest that my body needs. I'm very specific on how I schedule my week now that I have the freedom to do that. And it's just incredible how you feel. And then since I discovered, my human design and started to do more of the work, then I, like most people, you pull it for your family. Then I realized we're a family of five. There's four projectors in my house.
Oh, wow.
My husband, myself, and our twin daughters. And then I have my son who is a manifester. And so
Wow.
profile wise, my three kids are 6'2". So they all have the same profile. So now it's like even just knowing what we are made a significant difference on
Absolutely.
how I honor my husband's rest, my daughters, like now like it's like these you take these blinders off, right? And now it's like, oh my gosh, now I see why my husband felt the way he felt and I felt, and why my daughters get home from school and just want to go straight to sleep. Like it
Yeah.
is a lot. And then there's my son who just, has energy for days and probably feels like I've asked him these questions, like, how do you feel a month is like, do you feel like we're super slow and everything? And like, he just like, in a very kind way, he's like, well, yeah, sometimes, but this is very important to know. I feel like everybody needs to know this now, especially when you incorporate it now into business, right? And how to do that and how to leverage your design. I know it made a huge difference for me. Because like I said, I was like, go, 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 go. Now I know like 2 calls a day is all like Zoom, 2 calls. And yes, sometimes there's an extra one, and then I'm at the end, I'm like done, like I'm worthless for the day. And those are the things you get to know and honor. So I love to hear. I mean, you've shared that human design and the gene keys like really helped you accept how you're built and how to honor your timing. So, can you walk us through like maybe one or two key insights that really shifted the way you approach perimenopause in business?
I loved how you said it takes the blinders off, because it's like once you see, you can't unsee, right? This is
Right.
what happens with human design. And you start experimenting with it, and it goes deeper and deeper, and you understand more and more how I don't want to say wrong, but yeah, just not for you. You've been living because of the shoulds. Like, I think a big word for perimenopause is also the should. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we should do this, we should do that. It's always a little finger there, little
Yeah.
finger of guilt. Um, and or we should be further along, or there's all this regrets as well coming up and everything like that. Um, so so I have three aspects really that I talk about in the masterclass, that relate to perimenopause. The one is that human design actually sees life as 0 till 30 experimenting phase, 30 till 50 integrating phase, and then 50 onwards you connect the dots and you see the threads, and you have the overview kind of thing. I mean, projectors have the overview anyway, because you have a little bit of that bird's eye view on things. But for the rest of us, we get there when we're 50. So I love that, this completely reframing. You're not actually over the hill, you are just starting to.
I want to throw something in there because I love how you broke that down. But when you think of how society is conditioned, it's like, what are you talking about? You're just a few years away of pretty much like retirement. You're going downhill.
Yeah,
When that's far from the truth. And
absolutely.
I love how you said it. I just really love how, and I look forward to your masterclass to learn more about that. But yes, I'm sorry. I just had to interject because of how society sees age. Like you're too old now. No way.
Yeah,
Sorry,
exactly.
continue.
And no, it's true though. But this is, I think, where Gen X actually has like done something already for society, because there's a lot of women who are standing up and going, no, 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 I'm just getting started, people.
Mhm.
So I think it's beautiful. It shifts, but obviously in the big picture it will take a long time. But it has started to shift. Um, and then the other thing that happens in that time is your Chiron return, right? And Chiron is known as the wounded healer. And that happens between 49 and 50, kind of thing in that area. And there's a lot of stuff coming up from inner child, your childhood memories that you haven't thought of forever, to bring it also to pull it into the light so you can transmute and let it go, kind of thing, right? Because everything that we try and keep in the dark and hidden away somewhere in the cellar and all of that obviously is always haunting us. So this is the time also, and that correlates with with going through perimenopause. So there is a lot of healing also happening because all of these things bubble to the surface.
Mhm.
I think that is also very beautiful, although sometimes tough. And then that's also where I go quite fluid between human design and the gene keys, because I don't resonate so much with the gate description in human design. So I go into the gene keys there. And then Chiron is, you have gene key also for the Chiron, and then you can see the shadow side and the gift and the city. And my shadow, for example, was control. And I think I was pretty horrible with my family, to be honest. Before, like, this, it has to be done this way, this controlling. When you go into the shadow side, you don't feel complete or happy, or there's no joy. And then the only thing that you can sort of grip on is the things have to be done my way, you know.
Mhm.
dishwasher has to be stacked my way.
I think you just called me out on that one.
So that's happening. And then the other one that I absolutely love is there's environment in human design. So there's 6 different environments in human design. And this is a manifesting generator thing also, to bring 2 things together that have nothing to do with each other. And I loved to look at human design environment and interior design because this is my background,
Mm.
and see how different that is. And this is also interesting for the family because, for example, my partner is shores and I'm kitchens. So I like memorable collections in my space, whereas he likes it minimal and clean, right? And we've been arguing for years about this. Because for him, it's too much clutter. And for me, it's like keepsakes. And I'm emotionally attached to these things. And yeah, there's also interesting to see because then you can understand that it's not actually, you know what I mean? He's not criticizing me, but he's just completely different and I'm completely different. And then this is also super interesting. So that's the third part. And in human design, it says that um, being in the right environment actually calms your nervous system. And that's a big key factor, I think, to perimenopause symptoms is to be able to feel safe, really.
Oh, I love that. I hadn't considered um, the interior design combined with the environment. I was losing that word because I when I think of environment, I'm markets, and I really just think about more how I thrive. So there's times where like I'll go to a coffee shop and take my laptop, and I can get a lot done there versus at home. But I don't do that often enough. And I think if I did, I would see some other results as well.
Yeah, and but you need to know about it.
Oh,
It's
right,
like,
right.
well, also you need to be aware of it because otherwise you're like, yeah, I like to go to a coffee shop, but you do it every now and then. But if you're aware that this is going to fuel your creativity, then you would intentionally do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Got
And
to work
also
on
as a projector, the sacral, you are borrowing the sacral energy, right? If you go to the coffee shop.
that. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
so interesting. Okay, so you mentioned a masterclass, and I want to just remind everybody that's tuning in that you are one of our featured guest experts the month of November. You do have a beautiful masterclass. So, depending on when you are tuning in to this episode, um, masterclass is November 24th. And if you're catching this episode after that, there is going to be a replay under the guide section. But you touched about it a little bit, but give us like 3 little points or like the description of this masterclass and what we can expect from it.
I think awareness and then using it with intention and designing your life rather than floating along with it, right? It's like I
I
think
like
we
that.
I think we come to in perimenopause, it's like that point where we looked after everyone else, you know? Like in my case, I looked after my mum until she passed. Then the kids, get out of the house slowly and all of that. So it's all done. So like you ticked all those boxes, and then you come into perimenopause and you kind of uh, you're not even sure what you like anymore or where you want to go or what lights you up or so I think it's a beautiful tool, human design, for self-awareness. And it's like a little lantern to show you the path forward that that lights you up and that you desire. And it can be completely different, I think, from before perimenopause, because all of those hormone changes make you much more really honing into what you want. Like you become the hero of your story.
Oh, I love how you phrase that. I love it. I'm looking forward to it. So, everyone who is tuning in, if this is a conversation that has just really piqued your curiosity, or maybe you're already familiar with human design and gene keys, but now want to integrate and see how that plays out in perimenopause, I think that is the one thing that really caught my attention when you reached out wanting to be a guest expert. I immediately was like, I got to know more because you hear about all these things, but you are bringing it in a beautiful way and how it impacts women at this stage in their life that are going through so many changes. And not only that, how you can also leverage it in your business from,
Exactly, how to practically how to use it, I
and I'm going
think.
to add from like an empowered way because like we said earlier, once you know this stuff, you can't unknow it. You can't unlearn it. You took the blinders off. Whether you choose to leverage it or not, it's up to you. And to what extent, just one thing at a time. But I think it's beautiful, this beautiful integration of everything that you bring together. I'm excited. So thank you so much, one, for just coming in here today, sharing your wisdom with us, um, sparking this conversation that I know is also going to pique the curiosity of others. I look forward to continuing to just really learn more from you as you share your wisdom within the community and also the masterclass to come. And for those catching the replay, the masterclass on the replay as well. So thank you very much, Sharonah.
Thank you. It was lovely.
Yeah, and if you are tuning in here this week, thank you. We appreciate it. We welcome you to stay connected with us within the community. Also, Sharona, let us know how people can get in contact with you.
I am on TikTok and more active on TikTok, if I'm honest, than Instagram. Both the same handle, Sharonah_Luderitz. And I also, you can also get the chart, your human design chart on my website. And I added a little free report that would show your environment, interior design hacks and habits. So if anyone is curious about how the human design environment translates into habits and interior design, that is also on my website, which is also my name, .net.
Perfect. I think I'm going to go pull one of those to check out the interior design piece.
Markets.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Stay connected with us inside the Soul Line Network, which is a space where conversations will continue to really spark your remembrance and bring you to realignment. Until next time.